2025 backyard transformations, stunning natural stone designs and outdoor living ideas. In 2025, backyard design moves far beyond simple landscaping. It becomes an art form, a deliberate orchestration of beauty, sustainability, and human comfort. Every element chosen with care, every texture, every shadow, designed to create a space that feels deeply personal, yet in harmony with the rhythms of the natural world. This is the year where artistry and function merge, where outdoor spaces transform into sanctuaries that reflect not only the seasons, but the personalities of those who dwell within them. At the heart of this movement is the revival and reinvention of natural stone art. Stone is ancient and eternal, its story written over centuries of wind, water, and earth. In its many forms, granite, slate, limestone, river rock, stone offers a palette of textures and tones that no artificial substitute can replicate. It is durable, grounding, and timeless. But in 2025, we are not content to see stone only as structure. We invite it to speak, to become sculpture, to breathe artistry into the garden. Imagine walking through a pathway where stones are inlaid in intricate mandalas, each step an act of walking through a design as carefully composed as a painting. Patterns emerge from the contrast of light and dark stone, from the smooth and the rough, from the curve and the line. This is craftsmanship elevated to art, and it transforms a patio or walkway into a living canvas. Beyond the pathways, we see hand-carved fountains whose water seems to whisper over time-worn surfaces, stacked stone sculptures rising like quiet sentinels in a sea of greenery, pebble murals embedded into garden walls, catching light at unexpected angles. Even a single boulder, placed with intention among a sweep of ferns, can create a sense of permanence and peace. A stone bench carved from a single massive slab invites rest, but also tells a story of endurance. Then there is garden living, the second pillar of this transformation. Here, the outdoors becomes more than a backdrop. It becomes a stage for daily life. In 2025, the backyard is an extension of the home itself. We cook here, we dine here, we gather with friends under the open sky. Spaces are defined not by walls, but by hedges, trellises, and stone partitions that lend both privacy and beauty. Outdoor kitchens gleam beneath pergolas draped in flowering vines. Lounge areas are dressed in sustainable wood and weather-resistant wicker. Cushions in earthy tones invite hours of conversation. The furniture is chosen not only for comfort, but for its relationship with the living landscape. Planters overflow with herbs and blooms. Vertical gardens rise like living tapestries along stone walls. As the sun dips low, warm ambient light spills across the space. String lights thread through the branches above. Lanterns glow on stone ledges. Hidden LED uplights breathe life into the textures of rock and foliage. This is not harsh illumination. It is a soft, golden light, the kind that makes evening last longer, the kind that invites you to linger. Water becomes another voice in this garden symphony. A stone-clad fountain sings softly at the centre of a courtyard. A rock waterfall trickles into a pool fringed with ornamental grasses, and in the quiet moments, the sound becomes a heartbeat for the entire space. It cools the air, draws the birds, and soothes the mind. Every drop, every ripple, is part of the experience. In smaller spaces, these elements adapt with grace. A compact stone fire pit, ringed with low, comfortable seating. A vertical stone water wall shimmering in the sunlight, or a few sculptural pieces nestled among succulents. Even on a balcony or rooftop garden, slate tiles and pebble accents can ground the space, reminding us of the earth even high above the streets. Sustainability threads through it all. We use reclaimed stone, sourced locally, to reduce environmental impact. We choose plants that belong to the climate, thriving with less water. We design with shade structures that protect not only the people, but the garden itself. Permeable stone pavers let the rain soak back into the soil, nourishing instead of wasting. These choices are quiet acts of care, investments in a space to last for generations. And when all is said and done, The magic of 2025's creative backyard makeovers lies in the balance. Stone is the anchor, the foundation, the voice of endurance. Garden living is the warmth, the flexibility, the joy of inhabiting the open air. Together, they create a place where every element has purpose, where beauty and function hold hands, and where we are reminded with every glance that nature and human life are meant to be intertwined. When we step into the second layer of this vision, we begin to see how each choice in a backyard makeover is not only aesthetic but strategic. The design is not simply built, it is composed, much like a piece of music. Each material, each plant, each line of sight is placed to guide the eye, to shape the flow of movement, to create harmony between the living and the built environment. Let us start with the foundation, the way we organize space. In 2025, we have moved far from the flat, open lawn. Now spaces are arranged into zones, each with its own atmosphere and function. A dining terrace might sit close to the kitchen door for convenience, while a secluded reading nook might be tucked behind a wall of jasmine-covered trellis. Pathways are not just straight connections, they curve, they reveal views slowly, they lead you to discovery. Natural stone plays an important role in defining these zones. A shift from slate pavers to a bed of rounded river rock can signal the transition from a social space to a meditative one. A low-stacked stone wall might enclose a flower bed, doubling as extra seating for a gathering. These changes in texture underfoot and in the landscape help our senses understand where we are meant to linger and where we are meant to move. Seating itself becomes a point of design. Instead of portable furniture alone, designers are integrating built-in benches of carved limestone or granite. These pieces feel as if they have always been there, their presence rooted in the garden's very structure. Cushions in muted shades, taupe, moss, deep charcoal, soften the surfaces, making them welcoming without diminishing their sculptural impact. In garden living, transitions are as important as destinations. We consider how the human body moves from indoors to outdoors. French doors opening onto a patio might be framed by planters of tall ornamental grass, creating a natural curtain that sways with the breeze. From there, the ground might change from smooth sandstone tiles to a textured inlay, guiding bare feet towards a shaded lounge. Lighting is no afterthought, it is part of the architecture. In 2025, we see a deep respect for the interplay between light and stone. During the day, the sun casts shifting shadows across textured walls and pavers. At night, carefully placed lights draw out the grain of the rock, catching on the edges of chiseled designs, turning even a simple step into something worth noticing. We avoid overlighting, instead allowing darkness to hold its own beauty. Water continues to serve as both focal point and background presence. Designers are experimenting with layered water features, small cascades that flow into reflecting pools lined with river stones, or narrow channels carved into granite that lead the eye across the garden. Some integrate water into seating areas, with low fountains set into tabletops so that the sound and movement are close to where people gather. Plants, in this new vision, are not randomly placed. They are selected for texture, colour, and rhythm across the seasons. A soft carpet of thyme between stepping stones releases fragrance underfoot. Tall stands of bamboo form living screens that sway in the wind. Succulents nestle against warm stones, their geometric forms contrasting with the irregular rock surfaces. The result is not overgrown chaos, but an intentional layering that keeps the garden visually alive throughout the year. For smaller urban backyards, every square foot counts. Here, natural stone is used vertically as much as horizontally. Walls clad in stacked stone double as plant holders, or as projection surfaces for evening films. Folding tables and retractable awnings keep spaces adaptable, able to shift from an afternoon workspace to a night of entertaining. In such tight spaces, the careful use of stone art adds the depth and grounding that greenery alone might lack. Sustainability deepens in this second layer of design. We think of energy as well as materials, integrating solar panels into pergola roofs, using LED lighting systems that consume minimal power. Water is managed through rain chains that guide runoff into decorative stone basins, which then feed planted areas. Compost stations are subtly integrated behind stone partitions, turning garden waste into nourishment for the very soil beneath our feet. And as the garden matures, something magical happens. The stone begins to weather, deepening in tone, softening at the edges. Moss may take hold in crevices, lending a touch of green to grey granite. The plants grow fuller, casting different shadows each season. What was once a brand new design becomes a living, evolving environment, never static, always in dialogue with time. It is in this unfolding process that we realise a backyard makeover is not the creation of a frozen picture, it is the planting of a story. One that will be told over years in the language of stone, water, plant and light. And when a space is built with intention, it welcomes not only the people who live there, but the passage of time itself. In this third movement of our design journey, we shift our focus to the human experience within these crafted landscapes. It is one thing to build a space that is beautiful. It is another to create a space that is lived in, breathed in, and remembered. Here, every detail is considered not just for how it looks, but for how it feels to be surrounded by it. We begin with sound. The garden is not silent, it is an orchestra. The gentle splash of a stone fountain, the faint rustle of leaves in the breeze, the crunch of gravel beneath slow footsteps. These are not accidents, they are designed experiences. The choice of materials, the placement of features, all contribute to an acoustic landscape that soothes the mind and draws people deeper into the moment. Then we think of touch. Stone offers more than structure, it offers sensation. Run your hand along the cool surface of polished granite on a summer day. Feel the warmth radiating from sunlit sandstone in the evening. Under bare feet, the textures shift, from the fine grain of slate tiles to the rounded smoothness of river pebbles. Even the placement of seating considers touch, offering cushions of breathable natural fabrics that invite long hours outdoors. Scent is another layer we weave deliberately into the design. Lavender planted near a stone bench releases its fragrance when brushed against. Rosemary and thyme line the edges of pathways, so each step releases their herbal perfume. Night-blooming jasmine drapes over a trellis, releasing a gentle sweetness after sunset, mingling with the earthy smell of stone cooling after a warm day. Temperature, too, is part of the plan. In 2025, climate-aware design is essential. Pergolas draped with leafy vines filter the summer sun, while stone walls absorb heat by day and release it at night, creating a natural thermal balance. Fire pits and built-in stone fireplaces extend the usability of outdoor spaces into the cooler months, casting both warmth and light and creating natural gathering points. The layout is crafted to encourage both solitude and togetherness. In one corner, a secluded nook with a single chair faces a small water feature, perfect for morning coffee or quiet reflection. Elsewhere, a wide stone patio with generous seating invites larger groups, friends sharing meals, families celebrating milestones under the stars. The garden holds space for both the individual and the community, shifting effortlessly between the two. We also think vertically because the garden does not stop at ground level. Stone columns rise to support trellises draped in climbing roses. Hanging planters sway gently in the wind, bringing greenery into the upper visual field. Walls become canvases for vertical stone mosaics, where the art rises to meet the eye instead of waiting to be found underfoot. For children, the backyard becomes a place of safe adventure. Stepping stone paths invite small feet to hop from one to the next. Shallow streams of water run through stone channels where little hands can play. A hidden corner might hold a miniature stone fort built from reclaimed materials, a place for imagination to take root. Nighttime transforms everything. With the sun gone, the textures of stone shift under artificial light. Subtle uplighting makes a tree's branches glow against the dark sky. Stone sculptures throw dramatic shadows across garden walls, and the soft glimmer of water reflects lantern light like scattered stars. It is a time when conversations grow quieter, when the garden feels almost like another world. In compact urban spaces, these sensory experiences are concentrated. A small courtyard might feature a single sculptural water basin, its surface broken by the ripple of falling drops. Stone planters double as seating, their edges worn smooth to the touch. Even in a rooftop setting, the careful choice of materials, lightweight stone veneers, potted trees in weathered stone containers, can create the illusion of a grounded, earthbound sanctuary high above the city. Technology now blends seamlessly into this natural aesthetic. Weather sensors adjust lighting and irrigation automatically. Hidden speakers can play soft background music or amplify the natural sounds already present. Stone pathways may even be subtly heated in colder climates, preventing frost without the need for harsh chemicals. All of this works toward one purpose: to make the garden a place where time slows. A place where each step, each breath, each glance connects the person to the moment and to the living, breathing environment around them. Because a backyard makeover is not just about changing what you see, it is about transforming how you live. And now we arrive at the final layer of this vision. This is where design philosophy meets legacy, where a backyard is no longer just a project, but a living chapter in the story of a home. Every stone placed, every plant rooted, every line drawn in the soil becomes part of something meant to endure far beyond the present moment. In 2025, we design not only for today's beauty, but for tomorrow's resilience. We think of how materials will age, how colours will mellow, how the interplay between sunlight and shadow will shift with each season. The goal is not to freeze the garden in time, but to ensure it matures gracefully, its changes adding to its charm rather than diminishing it. Natural stone, with its strength and permanence, is the anchor of this vision, but even stone is chosen with foresight. We select varieties that weather in ways we admire, whose tones deepen and whose textures soften under the touch of rain and wind. We use local sources wherever possible, reducing transport impact and ensuring that the stone feels like it belongs to the land itself. The planting strategy mirrors this philosophy. We choose species that thrive naturally in the climate, that demand less intervention, less water, fewer resources. Trees are placed not just for shade today, but for the shade they will cast in 10 or 20 years. Perennials are chosen for their ability to return each year with renewed vigour, their growth cycles creating a rhythm the household can come to know and anticipate. Water, too, is treated with respect. Every feature, from a modest stone basin to a multi-tiered waterfall, is designed to recirculate, conserving resources while providing sound and movement. Rainwater is captured and stored, feeding irrigation systems or filling decorative pools during dry months. Even runoff is managed, guided through stone channels into planted areas where it can nourish rather than erode. Social life in the garden evolves over time. A space that begins as a couple's retreat might grow into a gathering place for family and friends. Children may play where once there was only open lawn. A small outdoor kitchen may one day expand into a full alfresco dining space as cooking habits change. The design allows for these shifts. Modular furniture, adaptable lighting, and flexible planting schemes make it easy to evolve without losing the space's core character. Art in the garden is chosen with the same adaptability. A stone sculpture may become more than decoration. It can serve as a marker of personal history, commemorating a milestone or honouring a memory. A mosaic in the patio may tell a story through pattern and colour, one that deepens in meaning with every year the homeowners spend there. This blend of personal narrative and timeless craft ensures the garden feels unique, impossible to replicate anywhere else. Even the maintenance of such a space becomes part of its beauty. Rather than a burden, it becomes a ritual. Sweeping fallen leaves from a stone path, trimming vines back from a pergola, polishing the surface of a carved bench. These acts connect the homeowner to the space in a way that passive enjoyment never could. The garden responds in kind, rewarding care with vitality, fragrance, and growth. As night falls, the garden shifts once more. In its quiet glow, it feels less like a piece of property and more like a private world. The interplay of stone, plant, water, and light becomes something close to theatre, a performance that changes with weather, season, and mood. This is when conversations linger, laughter carries into the dark, and the boundaries between the built and natural dissolve almost entirely. Ultimately, a creative backyard makeover in 2025 is not about following trends. It is about creating a space that is deeply personal, environmentally respectful, and inherently adaptable. It is about blending the enduring strength of stone with the living spirit of the garden, so that the backyard becomes more than a place to pass through. It becomes a place to return to again and again across years and generations. And when someone steps into such a garden, they do not simply see design, they feel intention. They sense the care in every choice, the story in every surface, the quiet conversation between human hands and the forces of nature. It is a place where art is not just displayed, it is lived. And in that union of artistry, sustainability, and daily life, the true heart of the 2025 backyard transformation is found.